Alrighty, today we're going to do some more grammar practice. It's been a little while since I've done some grammar practice, but let's get back into it. Today I'm using the book Conversational Korean Grammar, which I co-wrote alongside my some other people as well. So this book we've been using on live streams for a little while, and we've gotten quite a ways through it. If you want to look back on the past lessons, you can check them up on YouTube. I've posted them on YouTube before. Right now we are in level 2. So we've gone all the way through this into level 2. And the last thing we covered was core, the grammar form core. And now in this lesson, we're going to look at jiman. So jiman is another connective clause used to join clauses together. And we're going to practice using it and learn some more about jiman today. So this book is Conversational Korean Grammar. We've covered a fair amount before, including particles, past tense and future tense, things like that. So some of these things we'll also be using in today's sort of little practice as well. But it's great if you're kind of at a beginner level. You know some Korean, you know some grammar, maybe you just want to practice. Maybe you're not too familiar with jiman and you want to learn a little bit more, practice a little bit more, practice your vocab. So feel free to join in and have a go. I'll be asking for suggestions and participation as well, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You feel free to just listen. But if you'd like to practice, feel free to chip in and jump in. Okay, so we're on jiman, which is page 111. Okay, jiman. So, what is jiman? Well, jiman connects two clauses. It can be used with adjectives or action verbs, and it can also be used with nouns, and it connects clauses with but or however. So depending on which one it translates to, just kind of depends on the situation and your personal preference as well. But in general, jiman is used when you have two clauses that contrast each other. So, for example, the sentence says, 저는 뉴욕에서 살지만 캘리포니아에 살고 싶어요. So we've got some English words you might recognize that are just written in Korean. We have New York here, and we have California here, California and New York. So the sentence is 저는 뉴욕에서 살지만, here's our jiman. This says, I live in New York, but, our jiman is our but. I live in New York, but California에 살고 싶어요. I want to live in California. So you can change out these locations with any location you want and say something like this. You could say 저는 미국에서 살지만, I live in America, but 한국에서 살고 싶어요. I live in Korea, but I want to live in Korea. 한국어 잘하시네요. 잘하기는요. 아직 배우고 있습니다. Okay, so how is jiman conjugated? So you can join two sentences together or two clauses together by attaching jiman to the verb stem. If you guys don't know what the verb stem is, it's simply the verb in its dictionary form taken away 다. So for example, 보다 is a verb meaning to see. The verb stem of 보다 is just 보. You just take off the 다 and you're left with the verb stem. So to the verb stem, you add jiman. And it doesn't matter if the verb stem ends on a vowel or a consonant, you always add jiman. So for example, 먹다 means to eat, right? The verb stem is 먹. And to this, you add jiman. So this is I see, but something, something, something. And this is I eat, but something, something, something. Whatever it is that you're talking about. Okay, so here are some examples of how it's conjugated. We have jiman in the present tense for action verbs and descriptive verbs is just 지만. You have the option in the past tense to add 었지만. And the future tense, you can add 겠지만 or 올 거지만. Either one is fine. And with nouns, you have 이지만. This E you use if the noun ends on a consonant. If the noun ends on a vowel, you just add 지만. So for example, a verb like, a noun like 고양이. 고양이 is cat. So because this ends on a vowel, you can just add 지만. You know, it's a cat, but ... If the noun ends on a consonant, like 사람, for example, 사람 means person. So 사람 ends on a consonant sound, so you add 이지만 because of this consonant here. So here is a vowel, right? So we just add 지만. But here we have a consonant, so we add 이지만. So it's a person, but something, whatever it is. Okay, so that just depends on whether the noun ends on a vowel or consonant, but it's only for the noun. For verbs, you just add 지만 no matter what. Any verb, doesn't matter what it is, you just add 지만. Okay? And same for past tense nouns, you can add 이었지만 or 였지만, depending on ending on a consonant or ending on a vowel. And we have future tense, 이겠지만 if it ends on a consonant, and 읽거지만, or either of these ones, 읽거지만, in all other situations as well. So that's just a little table you can use for reference to help you practice using 지만. Let's have a look at some more examples. Okay, here we have the verb 가다. 가다, we take off the 다 and add 지만. So we have 가지만. Subject, whoever it is, I, he, she, you, goes. 가다 means to go. But 춥다. 춥다 is a descriptive verb. It means to be cold. To be cold. So this is to go. To be cold. Again, we just add 지만, right? 춥지만, it's cold, but something. 춥지만 맑아요. It's cold, but it's sunny, for example. 마시다. Anyone know what 마시다 means in Korean? Hello. 마시다. It's a fairly common verb. You might be familiar with this verb. To drink. Beautiful. Thank you, Maura. To drink. So 마시다, you add 지만, and it comes 마시지만. I drink, or subject drinks, he, she, you drink, but something. All right. So let's look at some actual sentences. So let's see how this is used in practice to make some sentences. So the first one we have here is, what is the name of this book? This book is called Conversational Korean Grammar. Oh, I have it over here, but I turned this around the wrong way. Okay, so let's look at, question, where can I get this book? This book is available on most book selling places. You can try Amazon or places like the Book Depository. Depends where you live. If you're in America, Amazon's easy. If you're outside America, I recommend the Book Depository. We also have PDFs on our website if you prefer a digital version. But I'm glad you've always been interested in learning Korean. It's a great language. It's an awesome language. And it's a lot of fun to learn. So, yeah, I recommend you check it out if you're interested. If you're new here, this book does start at a lower level. We're kind of nearing the middle of this book right now. So, okay. So this first example sentence says, 저는 운동하지만 좀 재미없어요. Okay, so let's just look at this first part here. 저는 운동하지만. Okay, so you probably are familiar with 저는. This means me. As for me, this book is Conversational Korean Grammar. It's here on this page too. So 저는 means me. And 운동하다, does anyone know what 운동하다 means in Korean? 운동하다, this verb right here. Exercise, beautiful. Perfect, black girl, your local engine, perfect. Workout. Either translation is fine, to work out or to exercise. Those are both great translations for 운동하다. So 저는 운동하지만 means I exercise, but, remember 지만 is our but, and it's been attached to 운동하다, meaning to exercise. So I exercise, but what am I saying? 좀 재미없어요. I can relate to this a little bit sometimes. Sometimes I feel this way too. So 좀 is just a little thing that kind of means some, like a little bit. It's one of those softening expressions. pen trim fun, beautiful. 좀 재미없어요. It's not fun. 재미 itself is a little noun meaning like fun, good times. And 없다 is to not have. So it's literally saying, for exercise, but there's no 재미. There's 없어요. The 재미 is 없어요. The 재미 is gone. The 재미 is the fun. There's no fun, but I exercise. It's not a lot of fun. Yeah, that's a good translation too. I exercise, but it's not a lot of fun. I don't have a great time. Right? People can probably relate to that at certain times. Sometimes you exercise, but it's not that much fun. Okay, we have a question here. Thank you for the roses, by the way, guys. That's really sweet. What's the difference between 없어요 and 없네요? That's a good question. Okay, so we can look at that quickly. So 없어요 by itself is just simple present tense. There's no sort of additional feeling or nuance to this expression. It's just there's nothing there, but there's no additional feeling attached to this word. It's just simple. But if you say 없네요, usually so this is using a different grammar form attached to the verb. So the base verb is 없다, which means to not have. Here we've attached your, which is a simple present tense. Here we've attached 네요. And the question about 좀 means a little bit or some or kind of. So there's 네요 here. When you add 네요, it's usually when you've discovered something new. So there's some feeling attached to your expression. This feeling really just depends on the situation that it's in. But generally you're experiencing it kind of for the first time and you're feeling some sort of way. So for example, if you say 저는 운동하지만 좀 재미없네요, it suggests that kind of you've just experienced it for the first time. Maybe for the first time today, you exercised and you're kind of surprised that it just wasn't any fun. Maybe you thought it would be, but it just kind of wasn't. It really depends on the context when you're using this 네요 form, but generally it suggests there's some feeling that the speaker is experiencing and they're telling you that they're feeling some sort of way about their expression. And the feeling that they actually are feeling, you're kind of expected to determine that by their tone of voice and the way they say things to know how they're feeling. But they are having some sort of emotional reaction to the situation and they're expressing that they're feeling something by using 네요. This book is Conversational Korean Grammar. Okay. That was a good question. Hopefully that answers it a little bit. Yeah, you're welcome. So what about this next question? Oh yeah, so here we have I work out, but I don't really like it. It's another possible translation. I work out, but it's not much fun. Things like that. Okay. This next one says 날씨가 춥지만 맑아요. Do they have that book at Kyobo? It might be on Kyobo. You'll have to look. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so anyone know what this word is here? 날씨. Anyone know what 날씨 means? 어디서 오셨나요? 저는 뉴질랜드에서 왔어요. Weather, beautiful. I see a lot of people say weather. That's awesome. So now she is weather. So we're using the 이가 subject particle, which means that we're describing the 날씨. We are describing the weather. We know that because we're using the subject particle. So the weather is the subject of our sentence. Okay? And how are we describing the weather? We're describing it as 춥다. 춥다. We had it up here as well. You might recognize this verb. Does anyone know what 춥다 means in Korean? 춥다. Cold, beautiful. Hit. 춥다 means cold. So the weather is cold, but 지만, we have our 지만 again. It's cold, but what? We have this verb, 맑아요. 저는 네팔에서 왔고 당신은 어디 나라에 왔어요? 저는 뉴질랜드 사람이에요. Okay, 맑아요. Anyone recognize this descriptive verb in Korean? It's not as common as 춥다, but it's also related to the weather. If you can't see it, it's got a lil here and then a kiuk at the bottom. Does anyone know what this verb means in Korean? It's a little bit of a tricky one. Today it was 맑아요 here in Houston. No, you don't know what 맑아요 is. Well, let's 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. Anybody know what 맑아요 means in Korean? To be, it starts with an clear. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Clear or sunny. So when the day is clear and bright and sunny, 맑아요. Is it pronounced 맑다? I think so. Because you kind of don't pronounce the lil, 맑다. But I'm not 100% sure on that, to be honest. Pronunciation is not my strongest suit. But when it's pronounced in 맑아요, you pronounce the lil and then you add, it's pronounced like this when you say it in present tense. This is pronounced 맑아요. Okay, so overall this sentence means the weather is cold, but it's sunny. A lot of winter days are like that. It might be very cold, but the sun is still shining. So this is a sentence like that. The weather is cold, but sunny. Cold, but clear. Exactly. Okay, this next sentence, our last sentence here. Question, 맑아 is an informal form and 맑아요 is a formal form. Yes, correct. 커피는 마시지만 아메리카노는 마시지 않아요. This is the front cover of this book. Okay, so let's break down this sentence right here. So what are the words in this sentence? Coffee, yeah, beautiful, thank you. Trauma. Coffee는, so 는 is the topic particle. And then we have 마시다. So 마시다 we had up here as well. It means to drink. To drink is 마시다. So 커피는 마시지만 means I drink coffee, but. So I drink coffee, but what? So let's look at this next part. Americano. Does anyone know what Americano is? It's a very popular drink in Korea. Probably the most commonly drunk type of coffee in Korean is Americano. Iced Americano, yes, exactly. Iced Americano is very popular in Korea. It's also known as black coffee. So if you have your coffee black, in Korea you say Americano. Americano는 마시지 않아요. I see someone say it. Lexi Freitas, awesome, good job. So this G anayo part, oh, that's a bit dark actually. But this is a different grammar form that we learnt earlier, and it means to don't do something or not do something. So 마시다 by itself is to drink, but if you stick on 지 않다, 지 않아요, it means to not drink. So she's saying, this person is saying, I drink coffee, but I don't drink Americano. 아메리카노를 마시지 않아요 and 아메리카노는 마시지 않아요 are the same. Essentially, yes. There's a slight feeling difference, a slight context difference. Because we're using jiman here, so jiman is used to create context, right? Contrast. So when you're using jiman, you have two clauses that are contrasting each other. And also, the 는 topic particle is used to contrast things, contrast nouns. So in this sentence, you're contrasting regular coffee with Americano coffee, with black coffee. And because you're contrasting those two nouns, it's natural to use the 는 topic particle, but you don't necessarily have to. You could use le together as well. That means the same thing overall, it's just a slight feeling difference. And someone's asking about, is Talk to Me in Korean better? It's really up to you. Talk to Me in Korean has great books. I recommend Talk to Me in Korean's books as well. They're amazing. This book, I think, is just different. It's always good to learn from more than one source, I think. So if you like this book, you can check it out. But, I mean, you don't have to. Talk to Me in Korean is also good. Okay. So nouns, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but basically it's the same process. You just attach either 이지만 if it ends on a consonant or 지만 if it ends on a vowel. Okay, let's do some practice with nouns. So this first sentence we have here says 미국 사람이지만 한국에 살고 싶어요. Anu already says American person. Beautiful, yeah. So 미국 사람 is an American person. 미국 is America, and 사람 is person. So even though in Korean it says American person literally, we would just say an American probably in English. But in Korean you can literally say American person. The name of the book is Conversational Korean Grammar. So we have I'm an American, but 이지만 but 한국에 살고 싶어요. So Lara, beautiful. Camille, I see some people already saying it. Amazing. This 고 싶어요 thing is used when you want to do something. So 한국에 살고 싶어요. 한국에 is in Korea. 살다 is the verb meaning to live. And when you attach 고 싶다, it means you want to do something. So, I'm American, but 한국에 살고 싶어요. I want to live in Korea. The next one says, 한국 사람이지만 김치를 잘 못 먹어요. Okay, so what is this sentence talking about? So, 한국 사람. So if 미국 사람 is American person, what is a 한국 사람? Anyone know what a 한국 사람 is? Korean, yeah, beautiful. Korean person. 한국 is Korea, so 한국 사람 is a Korean person. The name of the book is Conversational Korean Grammar. And I see Tokwa that already said the next part as well. 김치를 잘못 먹어요. Okay, so kimchi, you guys probably know what kimchi is. It is a very common Korean food of fermented cabbage and other vegetables. Korea, and almost every Korean person eats it, but there are some Korean people that don't particularly... Oh, thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much. And 잘못 is a grammar form to mean literally not well. So 잘 means well and 못 means cannot. So 잘못 is not well, and it's used to describe certain actions as things that you can't really do, or that you don't really like to do, or that you just don't do very often. So 김치도 잘 못 먹어요 means that even though you're Korean, I'm Korean, but I don't really eat kimchi. I don't really like kimchi. I don't eat it that often. So this is what this sentence is saying. All right. And this last sentence, I'm really confused about these two things, 잘못 and 잘못. Are you talking about the space? Generally, you use a space between them. If you see it without a space, that's pretty common. Even native speakers drop spaces all the time. But usually I think there should be a space. I could be wrong, but I think that's sort of the proper way. This last sentence, you may not know these nouns, so I'll just tell you what these nouns are. 백수지만 부자예요. So 백수 is someone who is unemployed, someone who's not working. If you're a 백수, you're currently unemployed. But buja is someone who is rich, someone who has a lot of money, a rich person. So this sentence means 백수지만 부자예요 means I'm not working, but I'm rich. Or, you know, he, for example, is not working, but he's rich. I know, that's the life, right? Everyone wants that. No work, but lots of money. That's the dream. So if you want to say that, you can say 백수지만 부자예요. I'm not working, but I want to be rich. If you want to say that, 잘못 means mistake. Oh, yeah, that's true, actually. 백수지만 부자예요. If you want to say, I'm currently unemployed, so 백수지만, I'm unemployed, but I want to become rich. So the book is Conversational Korean Grammar. If you want to say, so we know that 고 싶다 is used to say that we want to do a verb, right? So if you want to do a verb, you can use 고 싶다. What about if you want to say, I want to be a noun? So I want to be a buja, right? If I want to say I want to be buja, you have to also use something else. You have to say 부자가, this is our subject particle, our 이가 subject particle. And then we have the 되다 grammar form. 되다 is a very useful little verb that kind of means to become. And we can attach, now we have a verb, right? Now we have 되다, which is a verb. So we can attach 고 싶다, which becomes, in present tense, 되고 싶어요. So this means I'm unemployed, but, here's our but, our 지만, I want to be or become rich. I want to become a buja. I want to become a rich person. 부자가 되고 싶어요. I want to be rich, but I'm unemployed. So yeah, this is a useful little, this 이가 되고 싶다 is useful for saying you want to become some noun, like 선생님이 되고 싶어요. I want to become a teacher. Or 의사가 되고 싶어요. I want to become a doctor. Okay. I'm surprised when you erased because I thought you were using a pen. Yeah, it's just a pencil. Okay. So here we're saying how you can join two sentences together. So here we have two sentences. 한국어 공부가 재미있어요. Full stop. 하지만 어려워요. So we can actually just combine these two sentences together by using 지만. 한국어 공부가 재미있지만 어려워요. So here we've just taken out this part and stuck all of this together. 한국어 공부가 재미있지만 어려워요. This is a little bit a just more developed answer, right? You can always finish your sentence and start a new one. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you would like, you can join them together. 드라마를 보고 싶어요. Full stop. 하지만 시간이 없어요. I want to watch dramas. 드라마를 보고 싶어요. I want to watch dramas. 하지만, but 시간이 없어요. I don't have time. 와, 발음이 좋다. 감사합니다. Versus here, you can just join them together. 한국 드라마를 보고 싶지만 시간이 없어요. Here, we've just combined these together. 싶지만, just cut out this middle part. 드라마를 보고 싶지만 시간이 없어요. This book is called Conversational Korean Grammar. Conversational Korean Grammar. Here is the title page. And yes, I do have an accent, but that's okay. 한국에서 몇 년 사셨어요? 한국어 진짜 하시네요. 감사합니다. 한국에서 8개월 동안만 살았습니다. 하지만 공부한 지 좀 5년쯤 됐어요. So I've lived in Korea for only 8 months, but I have been learning Korean for about 5 years. Are you Australian? I am a New Zealander. The other thing to know about 지만 is that you can drop repeated subjects. So this is a feature in a lot of Korean sentences where you don't need to say the subject twice. So for example, I have a sentence here that says 그 피자는 맛있지만 그 피자는 비싸요. So notice how 그 pizza has been repeated on both sides of the sentence, right? I have it here and I also have it here. That pizza is delicious, but that pizza is pricey. You don't need to repeat it, right? You can just cut this out and say 그 피자는 맛있지만 비싸요. That pizza is delicious, but it's pricey. Notice that in English, when we have a repeated subject, we usually replace it with it. But in Korean, they don't bother with using a placeholder like it. They just drop it entirely. 그 피자는 맛있지만 비싸요. So that's a useful thing to know for basically any Korean sentence, not just sentences using 지만, but you do not need to repeat your subject on each side. You can just say it once and then it's already known that the thing that's expensive, 비싸요, is to be expensive. You already know that the thing that's expensive is the pizza. Is this book for beginners? Yes, this book is designed for beginners and it's called Conversational Korean Grammar. And then another note that's kind of useful to know, and we kind of talked about this briefly before, is that when you use different subjects on either side of 지만, you should use the topic particle. So a lot of people, I know it's tricky knowing which particle to use. Do I use 이가? Do I use 을을? Do I use 는? And this is one situation where I recommend that you do use 는. The way you say expensive is so cute. Where can we get this book? This book is available from most booksellers. So check it out. There's a link in our bio to our website. You can look for it on Amazon, on Blackwell's if you're in the UK. The Book Depository has worldwide shipping. We also have PDFs on our website. And here, we're talking about using the topic particle with 지만. And we're saying that if the subject is different in the second clause, you should attach 는 to the subject on each side of 지만 because you are contrasting these two subjects. And the 는 topic particle is the particle that provides contrast. So 는, one of its features is that it provides contrast to your sentence. And in 지만, right, we have clauses that are naturally contrasted. You're using but, so those two things are contrasted. So 는 and 지만 kind of naturally go together. They don't necessarily always go together, But as a trend, it's a good thing to keep it in mind. Is the book available in Singapore? Yes, check it out, the book depository. They think they ship to Singapore. Okay. So here we have an example of using the topic particle to contrast subjects. So, I forget this one's really dark. Okay. 날씨는, so 날씨, we had this before. 날씨 means weather. And now we have, 덥다. Does anyone know what the verb 덥다 means in Korean? 덥다. It's a fairly common Korean descriptive word. Hot. Thank you, I'm sorry, I couldn't say your name. But 날씨는 덥지만 means the weather is hot, but we have our 지만 here again. But 물은 추워요. 물. Anyone know what 물 is in Korean? 물. Welcome to this live stream from Nepal. That's cool. Water. Thank you, Soupy B. So 물은. Okay, so here we have our two particles, right? Because we're contrasting the weather with the water. So the weather is hot. The air temperature is hot, but the water is 추워요. 추워요 is cold. So even though the weather is hot, the water is cold. And we have the topic particle to contrast those two nouns, the water versus the weather. Yeah, 추워요 means cold. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, and we'll look at one more example here using the topic particle. So we have a topic particle here and a topic particle here. Remember that you use in if the noun ends on a consonant, and you use 는 if the noun ends on a vowel. So we have two nouns here. The first one is 식당. Does anyone know what a 식당 is in Korean? The restaurant is expensive, but the coffee is cheap. Perfect. Thank you, Soupy B. That is exactly what the sentence is. So the restaurant is the 식당. Thank you, everybody, for the restaurant. Beautiful. So the restaurant is 비싸다. The restaurant is expensive. 비싸다 is to be expensive, but 카페. What about a 카페? This might be a little bit hard to understand because of the way that Korean changes some words in English from English into Korean. Does anyone know what a cafe is? Yeah, cafe. Cafe or coffee shop. Coffee shop is also a great way to translate cafe. And we have our other topic particle and 사다. 사다 to contrast our 비싸다. 사다 and 비싸다 are opposites. So if 비싸다 is expensive, then 사다 is, what is 사다? Cheap. Beautiful. Thank you, Shop Mark. Coffee is so cute in Korean. Kappi. Yeah. Kappi. It does kind of sound like kappi. So this is coffee. You probably know this, but if you have to say kappi to say coffee. If you say it more English and say koppi, does anyone know what koppi means in Korean? Some people might know, actually. If you say this, koppi, nosebleed. Yes, thank you, Denisia. Nosebleed. So there's obviously very different words, so be careful with your pronunciation. Even if you say koppi, people will probably know what you're trying to say given the context. Oh yeah, sorry, koppi, I spelled it wrong. Thank you, English Korea. Koppi, nosebleed. Kappi is coffee, and koppi is nosebleed. Yes, thank you. Yep, it is with the kiuk, not the giuk. Yep, thank you very much. Okay, so let's look at the copy. Copy, I am not familiar with that word. If it is a word, I don't know it. It's possible that it is a word, but I'm not familiar with it. Copy. No, not sure. Oh, copy. That could be very true. It could be copy in Korean. Copy. Copy 하세요. Please copy this. Maybe. Yeah. All right. So, English Korea confirms that it means copy, copy, to copy somebody. I do not currently live in Korea, but I have lived in Korea in the past. Okay, so this last part here, we're just talking about different tenses. So, this is mostly just practicing your conjugating with different tenses, past tense and future tense. As we know, we have the 없지만 for the past tense conjugation of 지만, and then we have 겠지만 or 거지만 for the future tense. Yes, I live in America. 복사 means copy. You may be very true that 복사 means copy, but that's very common for Korean people to adopt some English words into the language, and they probably use both. What's the difference between 것 같다 and 생각하다? Very simply, 것 같다 or 는 것 같다 is when you're talking about your rough guesses and your thoughts, your sort of general feelings about something. But it's not as strong a feeling as 생각하다. When you use 생각하다, you're being slightly more direct and assertive about your thoughts in Korean. English Korea, love all you guys learning Korean. I know, it's wonderful to have everyone here and excited to learn and practice. I love it. Okay. And we use 같다 all the time. Yes. 는 것 같다. Or 는 것 같다, or even 은 것 같다, are all very useful expressions to know and practice because it's used all the time. How do you say can I verb? Well, this is slightly different from what we're talking about here, but you would use potentially the su 있다 form. You attach su 있다 to a verb, and it makes it say, I can do that verb. So, for example, I don't know, 말하다 is to speak. So if you say, 말할 수 있다, it means I can speak. So, 한국어 를 말할 수 있어요. I can speak Korean. Oh, I'm losing pencil in my pencil. 한국어를 말할 수 있어요. And this is the can part. Oh, I missed. Not this one. Hang on. This part. 수 있다. This 수 있다 part is the thing that means can. 한국어를 말할 수 있어요. I can speak Korean. Okay. Let's look at maybe one or two examples from these sections. Let's look at this last example here. I need to use a different. Need some more pencil. Oh no, there we go. Okay. So this book is Conversational Korean Grammar. And it looks like English Korea is a Korean person who talks about Korean culture on her channel, so definitely check her out. It's always good to learn from as many different sources as you can and learn from lots of different people, especially Korean people. I'm not naturally native Korean, so definitely follow her and check out her channel as well. Okay, So let's look at this last sentence here. 작년은 힘들었지만 포기하지 않았어요. So what is going on in this sentence? 작년. Does anyone know what 작년 is in Korean? 작년. What is the meaning of taga? I won't talk about that right now, but we do have a chapter in this book talking about taga. 작년 is last year. Beautiful. Thank you, guys. And notice how it's pronounced. 작년. We pronounce it like this. It's not pronounced 작년. These vowels blend together and make a ning sound due to some sound change rules. So it's not pronounced 작년, it's 작년. Last year was the novel Bert already has it, but that's very good. Great job. 작년은 힘들었지만. Okay, so what about 힘들다? Does anyone know what 힘들다 means in Korean? 힘들다. And yes, Papago is a little bit better than Google Translate, I agree. Hard, yes. 힘들다 is to be hard or difficult. So last year was difficult. Last year was hard. But, and we're using the past tense form of jiman because we're talking about last year. Last year was, physically difficult. For example, last year was physically difficult. It was very hard for me. But what about this one? 포기하다. I didn't give up. Yes. 포기하다 is to give up. But we have 지 않다 here. We're using 지 않아요 to say I didn't give up. So last year was hard, but I didn't give up. Yeah. Good job. Okay, and let's look at one sentence down here. Okay, what about this one? We'll look at this one. 한국어 공부가 재미있겠지만 어려울 거예요. Okay, so 한국어 공부 is Korean study. And we have 재미있다, which means to be interesting, to be fun. So Korean study is fun. We have this 겠지만 form. So here we're using this 겠다 form with 지만 to use the future tense form to say that it will be fun. The 한국어 공부, the Korean study will be fun, but now we have, Korean study might be fun, but it's difficult. That's also, a good translation of this as well. The Korean study might be fun, but it might be hard, right? It'll probably be hard. 어려울 거예요. So this is a conjugation, this 어려울 거예요. I've seen people talking about this verb actually in the comments, but it comes from the verb 어렵다, which means to be, also to be hard or difficult. 어렵다 and 힘들다 have a lot of overlap. They can both be used in a lot of circumstances. 힘들다 tends to be used more for physical things, but 어렵다 can also be used for physical things as well. But 어렵다 is also a very commonly word used, but it's a biop irregular verb. So this verb conjugates in kind of a special way. It follows its own rules, and you can learn the rules of the biop irregular, and we do cover it in this book, but it's not in this chapter right now. But basically, when it conjugates to the future tense, it becomes 어려울 거예요. It will be difficult. So this verb becomes this thing here because of this biop irregular. So 한국어 공부가 재미있겠지만 어려울 거예요. Studying Korean will be fun, but difficult, but hard. Okay, and let's look at one of these sentences as well. 잘 하기는요. 감사합니다. Okay, so a thing about these Gman sentences is that it's very common to see mixed tense sentences. You're a wonderful teacher. A lot of Koreans can't explain English grammar. Good work. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your kind words. So because Gman is used for contrasting sentences, it's very common to have mixed tenses, right? So if you want to say, you know, last year was this, but, you know, this year is Y, or, you know, last week it was rainy, but this week it's sunny, you know, whatever it is, it's pretty common to see Gman with mixed tense sentences. So get comfortable identifying these tenses so that you can understand these sentences a little bit easier. Okay, so for example, this first one, 어제는 추웠지만 내일은 더울 거예요. Okay, so the first word is 어제. Does anyone know what 어제 is in Korean? Yesterday. Thank you, Anu. The novel bird. Yes, good job. Okay, and notice again how we are using our topic particles because we're contrasting two nouns. We're contrasting 어제 with 내일. Does anyone know what 내일 is in Korean? It's the opposite of 어제, so it's fairly easy to know what 내일 is. So Fitwix, yes. Tomorrow, yes. Beautiful, thank you guys. So 어제는 추웠지만 춥다. Oop, that's a funny looking cheat. 춥다 is also one of these tricky 비읍 irregulars that conjugates in a funky way. 비읍 irregulars are very common with descriptive verbs in Korean. So 춥다 becomes 추웠다 in the past tense, and 추웠다 becomes 추웠지만. 추웠지만. So yesterday was cold, but tomorrow will be hot. I see a lot of people already saying it, so great job with that. 덥다 is another 비읍 irregular. So you can see all of these 비읍 irregulars are very common with these descriptive verbs. So it was cold yesterday, but tomorrow will be hot. And again, notice that these topic particles are used because you're contrasting yesterday with tomorrow. Okay. Oh, that's everything. Okay. So that brings us to the end of this chapter. Oh my gosh, excuse me. What is the present casual for 덥다? 덥다 becomes 더워요 in the present polite informal tense. Like this. This is polite casual. This is informal. And this is honorific. 덥습니다. So depending on what formality level you're speaking, it does have a couple different forms. The most commonly used one that you'll probably use is this one, 더워요. It's hot. Oh, 더워요. It's hot. Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions while I'm here? We have finished this chapter. We've talked about Gman. What's the difference between 더워요 and 더워용? Okay, yeah, so 더워용. So this just has this niang added at the bottom of the syllable. And it's really just kind of for fun. It's just to make the sentence sound a little bit cuter. It's not necessarily grammatically correct, but it's kind of like cute slang, just to make it sort of sound, I don't know, friendly and cute. is this book available to buy online? Yes, it is available to buy online. We have it on Amazon and also on our website for PDFs as well. I saw so many people use it like that. Yeah, it's very common, especially in texting, to use this. And it's not just with topda, you can use it with all sorts of different words as well. Like you might see quite a lot. 안녕 하세요. Again, it's just a little bit cuter, kind of friendly, sweet. Is your book available in Kupang? I don't think so. You can look, but I doubt it, unfortunately. I think it's kind of hard to get this out in Korea, to be honest. Because I know Korea doesn't really have Amazon so easily. You could try the book depository. They say they ship to Korea, but I haven't personally used it, so I'm not sure. Yeah, this book is Conversational Korean Grammar. Thank you for being here. Thank you for appreciating my explanations. I try and go slow and try and explain, but I always appreciate people asking questions. It helps me know how I can provide more information if people need it. How long does it take to learn Korean? Well, they say it takes 10 years to be fluent. So that's a long time. It's one of the hardest languages for native English speakers to learn, to be honest, up there with Chinese and Russian and other things like that. Can you touch base on 받침? Right, 받침. So what is a 받침? A 받침 is a final consonant on a verb or noun. So let's take a verb, a noun like 한국, for example. 한국 has a 받침, and the 받침 is this 기역 in the bottom, because they have a consonant at the bottom of the final syllable. Whereas a noun like I don't know, 강아지 ends on a vowel. So there's no 받침. It ends on a vowel sound. So this is a 받침 and this does not. And why are 받chims important? Basically because they affect how you conjugate grammar forms and how you pronounce words as well. So depending on if your noun or verb has a 받침, it might conjugate, follow a slightly different conjugation rule. 감사합니다. So that's the essential of it. What does 말 mean after language? 말 literally means language. It means speaking. So 한국 is Korea, plus 말 is it's a sound meaning language. So 한국말 is literally Korean language. Do you think Korean is hard language to learn for Spanish native speakers? I do believe it's difficult as well, but I actually have heard, I'm not a Spanish speaker myself, but I've heard that the pronunciation is a little bit easier if you're a Spanish speaker, because I think the R sound is more similar in your language. I'm not 100% sure. And I've also heard that Spanish speakers have a topic of a sentence more than English does. So you might have maybe a little bit of a heads up on that. I first learned Hangul from my first Korean teacher, and it's easier than learning romanization. Yes. I definitely recommend learning the Korean alphabet, learning Hangul, because romanization will only get you so far. This really is, as soon as you can, try and push yourself to learn Hangul and move away from romanization as soon as you can. Yeah. It's okay to start with romanization. You've got to start somewhere, and it's okay to use it a little bit, but just as soon as you can, try and push yourself to use Hangul. Okay, so we are at the end of this live stream. Is 네 both yes and no? Ooh, depends on context. Yeah, I would say yes. Pacham is so hard to pronounce. Yeah, depending. Okay, thank you guys so much for being here. I will post this recording on YouTube later, so if you want to come back and watch it again, you can. Until then, I'll try and do these once a week-ish, so feel free to check back later if you enjoyed it and would like to learn more. And yeah, if you'd like the book and want to check it out, definitely feel free to do that as well. Okay, appreciate you guys being here. Hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time. Okay, thank you, bye. Bye, guys. There's a link in our bio for all other things, our YouTube, things like that. Okay, bye, guys.